I was wanting to know a little bit about your history and your influences, and how you got inspired to play music.
I mean, there's some big ones,
Right.
The family stuff, and that was a major piece of me wanting to play music.
Mm-hmm.
Then, more subtle environmental influences of the radio, street musicians, and my father's a classical composer,
Mm-hmm.
and all of his friends are classical musicians, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And so the heavy influence from contemporary classical music and the whole tradition of classical music.
Right.
My grandfather was a well-known cantor coming out of the Jewish religious music tradition. Then we also had like the party music. So my parents would have parties and listen to old R&B records, Otis Redding and Aretha Franklin and that kind of thing. And I got the idea that I wanted to play the guitar. I think it was like, it was kind of like these kind of documentaries that they were starting to make in the 80s about classic rock and roll, like the Chuck Berry documentary.
Right.
So, oh my God, wow, that sounds incredible. I want to do something like that.
When you were first starting out,
Mm-hmm.
you were writing your own material, or you were just kind of listening and playing a lot of different tunes based off of old blues tunes?
Yeah, some of both. I mean, when I was first starting to play, I thought, I should try to write songs that are sort of in the style of old country blues songs. And my brother discouraged me from doing that.
I see.
So he thought that didn't sound good, and he thought that wasn't like an honest expression of who I was. And he was kind of right. And then I also, around that time, I started playing with an old blues musician named Carolina Slim.
Right.
And he also talked a lot about the importance of honesty and personal expression, and how the music you make has to be your voice and who you are. And I was also very interested in Judaism. So I was, my cousin got to be very involved with religion, and we would go to the Carlebach, Shlomo Carlebach synagogues, like this kind of neo-Hasidic. So when I would write songs, it's kind of was this idea that's been that I've been on my whole life is of trying to combine the different sounds into something that's coherent and self-expressive.
Right.
So there was pretty much from the very beginning I was experimenting with that.
Listening to your original pieces and some of the songs that you've chosen to put on this album, I know that you have experience with Malinese music.
Yeah, well, definitely. I would say my interest in blues led me to wanting to explore its roots in West Africa. Blues is very heavily rooted in certain specific traditions of the Sahel of Muslim West Africa and the Southern Saharan region, and so I wanted to learn more about that by traveling there. I was also pretty fascinated by this kind of intersection of ancient Semitic religious and modal musical influences with African music.
Right.
And that spoke to some of my interests in terms of seeking new ways of expressing Jewish musical ideas. The work I've been doing in Sway Machinery, where we're trying to find a vocabulary for speaking in that old voice, but in using the skills that I've developed as a performer and arranger, and writing blues-influenced music.
Right.
So
and it's like on this album, I can really hear the picking style. I can hear sort of the blues that I'm familiar with, and then I was listening to it and I was thinking, oh wow, now I can hear the Mali sort of influence between the two.
That's great. Thank you.
And you were playing No Lie. I listened to Ain't No Lie, and that was by Elizabeth Cotton.
Yes, exactly.
That's a classic blues
Definitely, yeah.
piece. But the way you played it, it had such a real, much more layered. Because it can be a very simple song, but when you played it, I heard all these different layers to it, and I heard that sort of Malian style. It really kind of stood out.
I think in some ways I think of the kind of stuff that I'm playing on this new record as being extremely traditional, but my way of relating to the tradition has become very influenced by my love of African music and trying to pay homage to the African roots of American music and the kind of the inherent Africanness of American culture.
Right.
And trying to seek information about how to play the music properly through kind of a rigorous approach to studying and learning about African music as well.